Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. Today I fucked up by putting a box fan in my kitchen. Update: so, yesterday, I was making fried chicken and burned it. Oops. The kitchen was blanketed in smoke and it was choking everyone up. I decided to put a box fan in the kitchen to blow the smoke out of an open window across the room. Well, my poor kitty decided to play with the cord no sooner than I put it up. I turned my head and saw him playing with it, told him to stop as I made my way over to him, and noticed he was shaking. Yes, my cat got electrocuted. He couldn't let go because it had a hold of him, I guess. In a panic, I yanked the cord out of his mouth. I didn't think to just unplug it. He then collapsed to the floor and was seizing. I called the local vet and they told me they couldn't take in any emergencies, so I had to rush him to a pet hospital a town away. I was sure he was going to die. They came to my car and took him. He was panting and barely breathing. They admitted him into their pet ICU and did all sorts of tests and gave him N4 with steroids. His lungs were clear and there were no visible burns on his mouth, but they said they may not show up, necrosis, for 2 to 3 days. He's now eating, walking around, and in good spirits. They just moved him to their standard care room to watch him for 24 more hours before sending him home. I should get to bring him home tomorrow. Thank God he survived. They already took a $350 deposit just to admit him and said, "You'll pay the rest when you pick him up." Luckily, I have a pet emergency fund. On top of all of that, me and the kids, 13 and 11, are pretty much traumatized. Today, I went and bought plastic cord protectors and we're covering every damn cord in the house. Too long didn't read. I burned my chicken and smoked up the place. I put a box fan in the kitchen to blow the smoke out of a window across the room. My poor kitty bit the cord and got electrocuted. Thankfully, he survived. Thank God your cat is okay. You have no idea. It was absolutely horrible. I can't wait to bring him home. Former critical care vet tech here. You saved your cat's life. You are an amazing pet owner, heart. Thank you, but I feel pretty guilty that it happened in the first place. I'm just so glad he is recovering. Someone mentioned lime in another comment. I wiped sriracha on the few cords my cat was chewing on. 6 years later she hasn't chewed another cord. Kitty tax. Not to be pedantic, but it was the cat who fucked up. I think it's reasonable to assume the cat will not bite on hot electrical cords. And if not the cord from the fan, it might have very well been from something else eventually, and with no one else in the house. I hope he recovers fine from it, and has learned his lesson. Today I fucked up by forgetting if I had a tampon in. Obligatory on mobile, so excuse the formatting, and this happened yesterday, Saturday, but was resolved this morning. As a woman in my mid-30s, I've had my fair share of periods, and had always considered myself lucky that I had never forgotten to take a tampon out before putting another one in. There was the time I forgot I had one in and then had sex, but that's a different story. Oh, I'm visiting my parents for the weekend and they have a septic system, which means that I can't flush any tampons because it can fuck the septic system up. I normally just wrap them and throw them out anyway, but I'm extra cautious when I'm here. I started my period Friday and it was really heavy and I was pissed that I would have to be dealing with it while at my parents', but with COVID it's not like we're really going anywhere anyway. On Saturday after getting up from a nap, I'm like, oh my god, here comes the flood. Women with heavy periods know what I'm talking about. So half awake, I go to the bathroom and am astonished/annoyed at the murder scene on my pad when I pull my underwear down. Because of heavy periods I always do a tampon and then a pad as a backup, and it's not an uncommon occurrence to overflow on really heavy days. I get myself cleaned up, replace the pad, and put a tampon in, at which point a light bulb goes off and I'm like, oh shit, I don't remember taking a tampon out. I immediately quickly pull the fresh tampon out and try to do a search and rescue mission in my vagina for the missing tampon. I have short fingers and try as I might, I don't feel anything but figure it's because I cannot get deep enough in there. I call out to my mom who's in the other room and ask her to come to the bathroom. I tell her what's happened and that I can't find the missing tampon. I ask her how much she loves me and if she'll help me look for it since I can't get a good enough angle and deep enough. She reluctantly says she loves me a lot and goes to get some gloves. I lie on the bathroom floor, near tears from panic and embarrassment, and my mom sticks her fingers up there searching for the tampon. I should note that due to COVID and my singledom, I have not had a bikini wax in a while, hate shaving, and am due for a trim, so my poor mother is also dealing with that. We decide to give it a little time and see if I can relax a bit and maybe the tampon will sort of ease its way down a little. I try again multiple times during the afternoon and night and can't get it. I Google pictures of the cervix because maybe it could be wedged between the side of my cervix and my vagina, and how much space is there between them anyway? I now know more about what women's cervixes look like than I ever needed to know, but I still can't find the damn tampon. I go to bed with the plan to call to make an appointment with my doctor so she can look for the missing tampon. I don't have any TSS symptoms and I really don't want to go to the emergency room, so I figure I'm okay for now. During the day, I had been trying to remember if I had taken the tampon out and flushed it, which is what I'm hoping for even if it messes up the septic system, or if I had just shoved a new one right up without thinking since I was still waking up from my nap. Now that I'm in bed, I'm replaying the entire day, because what if the last time before the time I hadn't put a tampon in? Could that be why it was such a bloody mess? Is that why we can't find anything no matter how much digging we're doing? I do the math in my head of how many times I've changed my tampon in the bathroom since I've been here, and come to the conclusion that I need to dig through the garbage in the morning. So this morning I wake up, armed with the knowledge that if there are 3 tampon applicators, that means that I did not lose a tampon in my vagina, but if there are 4, then either the tampon is stuck up there or the septic system will be very angry. I dig through the garbage and find only 3 applicators. I am both relieved and horrified, because while this means I don't have to try to fish the tampon out or go to the doctor, it also means I had my mom digging around in my vagina for nothing. Also, my poor father was there and had to hear us talk about all of it. But at least he doesn't have to worry about the septic system breaking. Too long didn't read. I forgot if I had a tampon in before putting in a new one. I couldn't find the lost tampon and even had my mom try to dig around in there to find it. Turns out I hadn't put a tampon in the first place. Edit to update and add 1. Copied from my reply to someone. My mom was happy and relieved it wasn't in there. For me that I don't have to go to the doctor for it, and for my dad that the septic system is safe. I said that I will now measure love for and from people based on whether or not they dig in my vagina for a lost tampon like my mother did. 2. Thanks for the gold, silver, and other rewards. My first awards. 3. To clarify, I no longer flush tampons, but if one occasionally slips when I pull it out, I have to decide if I fish it out of the toilet or flush it. I have pulled them out of my toilet and always my parents, but if I drop it in a public toilet, can you really blame me for not wanting to stick my hand in there? I felt bad when I found out tampons weren't actually okay to be flushed. But until someone tells you, you may never know. So thank you to the people who've commented about it, hopefully others learn from that. It'll be like a till moment for them. In that situation I would probably be too embarrassed to ask for help and just die of TSS, crying face, crying face. I'm lucky my mom is pretty laid back about stuff. My sister told me she wouldn't have helped me, frowning face. My husband works for our city's water department. Please stop flushing tampons altogether. Some poor dude has the worst job of grabbing clogs, which include mass amount of tampons, condoms, pads, etc. I've never flushed a tampon in all my life. Is this something people do? God, I had a similar-ish situation when I lost my Diva cup. This was peak summer last year. I was crying sweaty and naked on the toilet, desperately trying to find it. And I eventually got it out. I screamed in victory. Thank God I was home alone. I had a stroke of ingenious and tied some dental floss around the bottom so if it got too far up to retrieve again I could pull it down a bit. It did work. But I did have a minty fresh vagina that wasn't the most pleasant of sensations. Diva cups are not for me, much to my environmentally friendly dismay. Diva cups didn't do it for me either. I bought a few pairs of period panties in varying flows, and used them for the first time this last month. I love them. Major game changer emo. The brand I got are called Thinks, but there are tons out there. Periods fucking suck. You should not be flushing your tampons anywhere anytime. Septic or public sewer system, they're not made to be flushed. Ask any plumber. After they're done yelling at you, apologize. And then stop flushing your tampons. Today I fucked up by trying to save a dog. This morning as I was driving I almost hit a little dog. It was on a corner and hill, in the rain, so I decided I was going to remove her from the road, before one of the many construction vehicles that drives 45 to 50 on this road hit it. I got out, got her to come to me and put her in my trunk. It's a small SUV, since she had no collar and I didn't know what else to do with her. I wasn't going to go knocking on the doors in the apartment complex at 6 AM. I got in my car to call my mom to see what I should do. Didn't feel like standing in the rain. A minute later a woman comes out of one of the apartments looking ready to kill. I got the dog out of my car and said, "Sorry if I scared you." She was playing in the road and I didn't want her to get hit. She responded by saying yep, sure, as she grabbed her dog and ran back inside. I'm probably going to show up as a puppy napper on my town's Facebook now. TL, doctor tried to save dog who was playing in the road, owner came out and thought I was trying to steal her dog. I'd say the owner reffed up by letting her dog play unattended in the road and you were a good Samaritan. That's what I thought. Not your screw up. It amazes me how many folks aren't responsible for their animals and then try to blame others. That lady sounds like a bad pet owner frown. Thanks for taking the time to try to make sure the dog was safe. Also, she probably should have a collar on her dog, especially if she's going to let it run around like that. TSFU, not you. You should have hit the woman with your car and then gotten away with the dog. The funny part is, I don't even like dogs, haha.